So we have a lot of African thieves, read presidents, that hide behind this whole notion of Pan-Africanism, that we are here for Africa, we want to build Africa, and they keep selling us this Ubuntu jazz, togetherness, and forming organizations like the EU, regional blocs like the East African Community, and yet they are the most selfish people, the most self-centered people, and they use this narrative to debase or to disassociate themselves from anyone who questions or asks for accountability. You get? I want to give an example of Museveni because I'm Ugandan and this is where I come from. You get? Museveni will move around always reminding us of his bush war, peace. He's so fixated on the idea that he fought for peace and therefore he needs to be in power for so long. You get? But this whole idea of he is the grandfather of Pan-Africanism, left in Africa, all his mates, some either died or left power, but he's still stuck in power. He's still stuck in power that he has started even to make contradictions and he's not coherent. But it's always pushing their agenda. You see, Bobby Wine this, he's with white people, gay people. Kizza Besigye this, he had gone to Kenya. He was, anyone that belongs to opposition or anyone that tries to hold Museveni accountable, his go-to idea is you're working with white people. But I want to bring to your attention that Museveni, in his own book, Sowing the Mustard Seed, which you might know or might not know, or which you might have read or have not read, Museveni himself said that whole idea of Pan-Africanism that makes a white man who is not oppressing you even worse than a black man that is oppressing you is wrong. We cannot continue to linger this white man, colonialism, racism card to make us as Ugandans, as Africans, accept acts of, black supremacy. Because that's what I call it, selective black supremacy, where specific black people feel they have understood the idea of Pan-Africanism and they want to force us to be under their abuse because they've understood this Pan-Africanism idea for us. So they enrich themselves and their families. That's why you see they participate in budgetary corruption, they embezzle, they protect the corrupt, because they know the whole system is flawed. And if we pull out one brick, the whole house comes tumbling down. So they like selling us those ideas, but they also sell the idea that African states can do nothing without them. So they have a life presidency. They always create this scenario of, you people have not been in the wars, you don't understand, so you can't lead because you don't have a clear example of how suffering has been. You're like privileged babies. You have been born out of privilege. And they have sold this so well, because in Uganda, for example, people think that no one else can become president. You get? Because we shall not be able to handle the situation. Shall not be able to handle the situation when Museveni leaves power. There is always that fear propagated that we shall fall into a state of unrest. Come on, the people selling to us all this jazz, guys, excuse me, that's my daughter, but the people selling to us all this jazz are not even leading us right. Museveni has led this country for 40 years, but look how broken it has become. It's more regressed from the oppressors that he picked them from. Okay, given maybe they were not the best presidents, but he has regressed this country to a place that is worse. The train stations that were there in Obote's time are the same train stations that are even worse. You get? It's like we are living in the vintage version of Uganda. You get? When people be wanting like vintage, first we live a reality. Our reality in Uganda is vintage. Systems are vintage. Everything is vintage. But that's a lie. We need to disabuse ourselves of this mental slavery. They cannot keep selling to us these ideologies that we can't do it without them. Come on, we all embody some traits of leadership at small levels, in our families, in our friendships, in our relationships. What do you mean we can fail to lead? And you know why they sell that idea? They make it look like only one man leads a country. You get? And so when they say, Bobby Wine can be a president, It's like, it's a system they have created, the broken system of dictatorship, where only one man leads a country and systems are broken. But in a country of functional systems, where we know this ministry is functioning as it should, we know this ministry is functioning, this office is, why should you fear who will come next in power? Because kids have expertise, people have gone to school there, unless you want to participate in political corruption. That's where this thing gets more complicated. But if your job is to get in and do the work that you're supposed to do, then we can do it by building systems that rely on systems and not people. You get? On a country that relies on systems and not individuals. And that's what they have done. They have built countries that rely on individuals, and therefore they think that no one can step in and lead countries, because that's what they have been doing all this time. So we need to let us vote opposition in 2026. Let us vote. Let us change this system, because the whole of NRM is broken. You get? These things they tell us are their ideology. That's why you see when young people in the party cannot come up and put a foot down and say old people like Moses Ali are not running again. What's her name? Kadaga are not running again. They can't put their foot down. They're only just saying Museveni abeo, because even themselves they are drunk on these ideologies of life presidency, no term limits to office. You get? So the whole NRM is, so we need to focus on other opposition. Maybe there is hope, maybe there is hope, and I'm not saying there could be, but maybe there is hope, a difference. You get? So yeah, disabuse yourselves of that mental